Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm like this because I was laying down in the floor outside, releasing the mind. Another intense day of Aries. Today is the day of the Sacrum chakra in the emotional week of Aries. And our topic for today is struggle. We can also say fight, but it's not the right meaning. So let's say struggle. Just I want to let you know before everything that I don't know how this path is going to end, but for me, I guess that the path of the I am is making me say so many things and to work so many things that I guess that at the end of this year, I don't know if I'm gonna be a very in axis person or a very horrible person. I don't really know. So just to let you know. So what I've been thinking and going through this week is that is becoming aware of something that we usually do when we are in this kind of spiritual path and trying to reach the consciousness, which is this idea that we have to behave very peacefully, that we don't have to say anything, to fight, or to keep the calm constantly all the time, that we should not get mad or bothered, or not to do something that is outside the spiritual peace and love and all these kind of things, and try to be in the center. But as I've been watching and understanding these days, no, this is not really a definition of being really in the spiritual path, and something that could help us to understand this is the topic for today. So, but when we start to go in these topics and we understand that we are here, humans, people, we exist because of these fights, because of these struggles that we have through our history, throughout they created our countries, our nations, our cultures. Everything was created because of these struggles. And this is not only human nature, is nature itself. Nature in the world of insects, in the world of plants, in the world of minerals and mammals and reptiles, all of us in nature are constantly struggling. We are fighting to survive. The only thing that we humans have done with this is to put a culture and ethics and morals on this. That's the only difference that we have done. The thing is that that the struggle in nature is related with two specific things, which is one, reproduction, and the other one, defense. So all beings in nature willing to survive are trying to fight every day for these two concepts. To reproduce is to transcend. The beings are in need of transcendence. And to protect themselves, to defend themselves, is because we want to stay alive as long as possible. So these two things made us struggle every day, made us fight with the environment in order to survive. So eventually, the living beings, what they start to do is that in order to thrive, in order to have food, space to do the reproduction, space to feel secure, they start to look for territory. So they expand and fight for the territory. And this mechanism that we have is natural, is something that we start to do in order to ensure our survival. So this does that every one of the living beings starts to find their own way to make this fight, this struggle, to go through this struggle. So when it reaches humans, we start to put culture in this pursuit of reproduction, of territory, and of defense. So once the culture starts to organize the territories, they start to expand to look for more. So they expand, they go beyond, and they start to conquer territories by fight. And that's what we call the hostile way of fighting. So when I'm saying hostile, this concept for the ancient ones represented the foreigners, which was Hos, the name Hos. Hos represented all the people that were from outside, and the foreigners. And when they, usually in the past, when the people from the foreign lands, they used to come, it was to conquer or to do something wrong. So from that point of view, they were coming to occupy the territories. So that's why they were called the hostiles. The hostiles are the ones that are trying to do something bad from the outside in the inside. But through the centuries, we also call the host like someone that we are expecting from the outside to come inside, like host, for example, exactly the same word, a host coming, a hospital, a hostel, hospitali. So these words come from this idea of the outside. So basically, this concept was referring to the idea of these people, these tiny tribes, that are trying to protect the reproduction and defend the territory. To understand how they connected these two topics is because the reproduction, the sex, and the defense, the fight, were kind of the same. Why the same? Because I don't need to help you much with the imagination to picture that during the process of sex and during the process of fighting, two people are kind of doing weird things with the body, like bending one another and doing weird stuff. Okay, so when two people fight and when two people have sex, kind of do movements. And I would like to clarify here that I'm speaking about very ancient people. And when I mean very ancient people, I mean a time where love was not exactly what we refer to today. It was not like sweet and kind and lovely. Basically, love was kind of a rape, because it basically was, we have to reproduce. I know that right now I have to reproduce, and let's do it. Even if the other person didn't want it to, it was something that was should be done. So so that's why for the old people, there was no that love that we know today with the sex. So it was all about hitting and grabbing the hair and beating the other ones, and it was kind of weird and rough. I guess that some people do that still, so it was kind of like that. This is why text and fight has the same etymology. So from the word leug comes luxation. So it's the word lux, that means to move, to when something bends something. So leug means to bend like this, something that is bending. So when you bend something against something, and so on. So this is why bending also gives the idea of bend something like this. So that's why leug was the origin of luxation. That is when two bones separate from each other and they don't connect. So they bend. So that would be. So from the word leug, we have the word luxur, that means luxury, or as in English you would say lust, meaning that something bends to each other, like something is bending one another. Another word that comes from leug is laxus, which is that is easily bending. So it's flexible. Okay, so it's laxus, something that is flexible. Leug, that means bend, and gives the origin of the word luxus and laxus, flexible and lust. The two of them gives a word in Spanish and in many Latin languages that represents to bend one another, and that's the description of how it was the fights in the moment. Okay, like people were fighting and bending one another with the bodies. Okay, so they start to fight one another. The word lucha, lucus, that comes from this leug word, which is to bend, is related to the flexibility one must have in order to bend itself. And in English, the word this word doesn't exist, but you have struggle. The word struggle. The word struggle comes from the word stru, that comes from the word ster. So the word ster means something that is fixed, that is standing still. Okay, that's ster. And struggle means that it's so fixed that break. So the two etymologies, leug, which is to bend, and ster, that is to fix, that to have something fixed, are related because one is describing that the problem is to bend, and the other one is describing that the problem is that it can't bend. Okay, so basically in Spanish and English, the people saw different aspects of the same thing. You know what I mean? So difficult to be bending, and the other one was saying has to bend. So it's kind of like that etymology. So why the translation of lucha in Spanish is not fight? Why I'm not speaking about fight here? Because fight has the same etymology for the word pelear in Spanish. So I will explain this. So the word fight is a bit weird how it became fight, but it was pilven, in the Old English, pilven, that comes from the word hair in Latin languages. which is pelus. So so the word describes that people, when they were having the struggle one another, they were grabbing the hair. So fight means to grab the hair of the other person. That's what it really means. So it's this aggression, okay? So as you see, struggle is not related with fight, because fight is describing when another one is being aggressive with someone else. When struggle is describing not a straight fight, a strict fight with other one. Struggle is referred to those situations in which you have to learn to bend yourself, to be flexible to the conflicts of life. So from here, I wanted to explain two words, which is aggression and regression. The word aggression comes from the word agressus, agressus, and regression comes from the word regressus. So agressus means to move forward to what is walked, what we have to walk, to move forward to the path we walked. And regressus comes from the word coming back to do again what we have walked. So agressus, aggression, for English and Spanish, both represents today something that is aggressive, but in the beginning was related to move forward. And this word was related to the person that, without having any situation that tells them to react, they just move forward. They just moved to the path, invading the path of others. So that's why through centuries, the word agressus started to become aggression as something to fight, because we are moving ahead. And whoa. And in English, the opposite word of agressus, which is regressus, gives the word to regret. Okay, so when you regret something that you have done or that has happened, okay, so when you aggress and then you regret, okay, that would be the origin of these two words, okay. And these two words, I am just explaining them because we have to understand that sometimes we become aggressive when we are trying to be loving, or loving. So as I was saying, aggression is something that we usually do when we invade the space of others, trying to convince them that what we see is the right thing and that what we are doing is a good way to do things. So what we usually do when we try to help someone without the other person asking for help first or asking the question, that's also a kind of aggression. Even if we are lovely and we are trying to help the other person, what we are doing, invading the space of the other one, if the other didn't do the question, that's aggression too. So just wanted to explain this because sometimes we do this thinking that it's good for the other, what we are doing, but it's not. This is another kind of aggression. So So this is why we have to do a regression. A regression is something that helps us to understand what have we done good, what have we done bad, to understand the process. And the process, we usually regret what we have done. So these are the two types of struggle that we have. La lucha activa, the active struggle, y la lucha pasiva, and the passive struggle. What we have here with the active struggle is that this struggle is related to the outside, to the exterior. This means that it's related to here and now, this place here and now. Okay? And the goal of this here and now is the transformation. The transformation of the environment. Okay? So the passive struggle is related with the inside, with the interior of the being. The interior of the being, which is related to beyond, is to look beyond this reality. And that's why the purpose of this, the goal, is the illumination. Illumination. Okay. So the people that are willing to transform the world, to live here, to live in this reality, and to transform this environment, the world, the society, everything that we have here, these people that are trying to live here and now in this world, in this time, will be working for the transformation. So we'll be facing a lot of problems, struggling in this reality, a lot of struggles from the outside that I have faced every day. And then we have the passive struggle, which is the one that says, I am not going to waste any energy in the outer world. I am not going to fight in this world anymore because I don't need this energy. So the only thing that I'm going to do is to go within, to stay in silence, and to have the struggles facing my ego, facing my soul, my darkness, and all these things in order to be able to illuminate myself, to enlighten my being, and from there to expand beyond this reality and this world. So in order to not to judge things, before we judge one of them, both are good. Both paths are okay. It's perfect. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Cuando these are two good paths, you can do them, of course. But what happened? We start to have some problems with this when we are only fighting the outside and when we deny the inside struggle, or the other way around, when we struggle in the inside and we deny the fight in the outside. Both of them are needed in order to be coherent. In order to have a perfect harmony of ourselves, we need these two kind of struggles. Because when you face the struggles in the outside to solve the problems, if you don't face the struggles within, what you do outside won't have any sense, any meaning. And the same way around. When you expand yourself to the universe, if you didn't do anything here, will also be worthless. So for example, if I get the inner fight, the inner struggle, I go to the universe, the whole, the enlightenment, I become illuminated. What happens when I become illuminated is that everything is perfect. You cannot see the imbalance of this part of the universe. It's impossible to see. So what we have is a lack of justice or a lack of balance, because we don't understand what it is meant to be corrected. So what happened is that when there is an injustice, like, I don't know, someone killed somebody or raped somebody, from that point of view, from the universe, it was just another cell transcending. It was not a problem at all. Okay, so so that would be, I don't know if you get this example. In another way, in another hand, the ones that are fighting outside, like the activists, or for the rights of whatever, for the rights for, I don't know, climate change, all good causes, all good things that you are fighting for to change, okay, the world. But if you don't do this inner work within, this inner struggle with yourself, you will become that fight once and again, becoming the war itself. Okay, so once and again, you will be repeating exactly the same pattern, because the only thing that completes you is fight. So, for example, what is happening now is that the world is in an active struggle all the time, because the world is fighting for everything. Doesn't matter what word you say, immediately the world will say, "Oh, that's misogynist. That's I don't know. That's racist. That's, I don't know." Everything can be something that you can judge. And why? Because we are constantly in the outer active struggle. Okay, so the people cannot see now the different points of view, that maybe other person has a different point of view, and that doesn't mean that it's against. It's just a different point of view. So without the inner struggle, we're not gonna be in balance, never. Because we will always see the problem in the other one. So let's remember how we can become a wise fighter. There's no word in English for this. A wise struggler. I don't know. It's weird. But okay. Let's say to have a wise struggle. Let's say that. So a wise struggle must be done from 3 points of view: from the mind, the emotion, and the physical. So remember, what is a struggle? Is to learn how to bend. Okay? So the task here is to be flexible. So struggle means to know how to bend, to be flexible. So that's why from the mind, we will call the wise fight as reflection. In English, it's not exactly reflection. Is to reflect things, to think about the things. You know, when you think better about the things. Emotion is inflection, and the physical is flexion. So to have the image, if I will fight, if I will face the struggle with the fist in front, okay, with the fist, in order to have the strength in the fist, I have to go back and be flexible, to flex the arm coming back and to have the power to move forward again. Okay, so that's the image that we can have. So flex, go back, and have the strength. So this teaches us that in order to face something in front, to move forward, we should not always keep moving ahead. Sometimes we have to move backwards to go away in order to see a different perspective. So in the level of the mind, this facing the struggle would be to mind the things, to do a reflection. So to do a reflection is to stop for a while and to think many times about the things that happened and will happen, to have an idea before I say, I act, I do something. So we have to think about the things before. We have to picture all the points of view, the perspectives before we say something. That's the reflection. That's the thinking about, to be aware of. Okay, that would be the flexibility of the mind. So in order to not to react to something from my own point of view, the reflection, thinking about it in the mind, will take me to flexibilize the mind, the brain. And how? That before I say something by reaction, I just have to sit down and think about the point of views of all the people involved, so I can have a whole idea of what I'm going to say next or to do next. From the passive point of view of the struggle, what would we do? Sit down, observe, and stay in silence. And from the active way, we should think about, see the point of view of all the people, and then to manifest an idea, a word that helps the others to see a different point of view, a different perspective, so we can work the transformation of something outside. Why this is complicated? Because we have been taught to fight for what we believe and not to fight for what it is. This is why our realities, our life, are all full of these fights, because basically we are fighting because of beliefs, not of the things as they are. In the emotional aspect, we have inflection. Inflection is a flexibility that you will do within, inside, in flexion. So what this means, that what we have to do is to bend ourselves and to change the path of what we have lived our whole life. The point of inflection is when you realize that everything that you have done or you have felt until now is wrong, or it could be different. So you change that into another path, into another way, into another action. And it's really difficult because it's emotional, because in emotion has been stored all the preconcepts of our path and how we think and feel and believe. So this is why the inflection is also treated like a point of crisis in our life. It's a moment in which we bend ourselves and we struggle with the change of our entire perspective. Physically, what it means, flexion. If I would say all the things that I say like this, the information that I am saying won't reach you in the same way. So as I said, in the physical way, if I do like this, information won't reach you. But if I start to do this and to speak, and I'm open constantly, and I move and speak with the person, and I do the gestures of flexibility, the energy will be different and the understanding will be also different. So when I am flexible, when I speak, I'm not fighting in what I say. But if I'm like this, like military, I will be immediately doing the gestures of fight, of going against. But when you start to be flexible with the body, you ensure yourself what you do, what you transmit, that you are aware of what you're saying. Basically, what I'm here describing is the struggle of the wise one. So the wise struggle would be the one that, speaking outside, will invite the other ones to think about the things, the reflection, to reflect about the things. Will be the one inviting the others to make a point of inflection, to change the way they live. And will be the one inviting the others to move with flexibility. So it can break barriers that the others had. But in order to change that in the outer world, the wise one has to do this in the inner world first. This would be the inner struggle in order to face the outer struggle. So what I can take from here is that it's our own decision to decide if we are gonna shut up and not say anything when there is a struggle, or if I'm gonna say something to try to change what is in the outside. When there is a struggle outside, when there is a problem projected in the outside, it means that there is something that we must learn, that we must transcend in order to evolve. This means that if that thing is there, it means that we have the tools to face that. So this means that if we are here for transformation, we should not shut up when we see something that is unfair, something injustice. But it means that when we do the answer, we have first to make a reflection, an inflection, and action in order for it not to be a reaction. Yesterday, for example, and with this I finished, I saw a comment that made me emotional, and I wanted to answer back immediately to that. But there was a moment that I said, no, I won't answer like this. I will have to make a thinking about this before. So I will do this example. I will use this example. So I wanted to say something about this thing to wrap the idea. That yesterday I saw a comment that was bothering me, and that I felt like I had to answer back because it was an awful comment. And suddenly I thought to myself, wait, I have to think about this. And because immediately what came to my mind was all these ideas, these thoughts that usually a lot of people were sharing to me, and I agree with that, is that don't waste your energy trying to answer people that just do this kind of comments or whatever. So I agree with that. It's like I don't want to give this energy, my energy, to just try to talk to one person and to try to solve a problem or to say something. That would be waste energy, of course. And suddenly when I started to reflect about this, to think about this, I said, wait a moment. There are two ways of using this energy. I would waste the energy if I answered back as a reaction to this person for what that person said. So I would be wasting that energy because I would be just throwing all the effort to try to answer back to only one person. But what I can do is the opposite. What I can do is just to think, to make a reflection of what that person said, think about, do this reflection, and then make a point of inflection in which I decide to share a new idea of this, to answer back, but not to the person, but to all of you or to all the people. Like using the energy of that conflict in order to teach something that is productive. So you change that, which is a point of inflection of thing. And then you make the move, the flexion of sharing it in a different way, relaxed. So that would be an example of how to manage that energy, and not to think that you're wasting your time when you answer back. So I'm one of those persons that usually don't answer, don't do those things like answer back or fight or whatever. So if you have followed, I never do those things. I only did this week to answer back to some things because I was asked to by my higher self to do it in order to practice this, to practice that it's not a waste of time to put this energy in the others when you take it in order to educate and to share the point of view and to make an inflection of this. I just know that I spoke too much, but I guess that this is something that it really was needed to be spoken, because our time is all about this. These times that we are living is all about judging everything, everyone, all the time, one to another, and we are losing ourselves because of this. I've been reading right now here in some of the comments that there's so many ego, a lot of ego here, and I said yes. Otherwise, it would be if without ego. So it's okay to have ego. Don't worry. So there was someone yesterday that also said that my reaction from yesterday was showing my Argentinian ego. So that was a bit xenophobic from that person, but to qualify a whole nation of being selfish. But yeah, we have that. But anyway, the thing is that we are doing that. We are judging all the time, each one of us, about whatever. And I guess that is important to understand, to know that we have to learn to do this reflection, inflection, and flexion in order to have the proper fight, let's say. So I know that I speak too much, but just you have to know that in 3 months I just disappear and I stop doing this. So so no more. The vibration for today is Ru. The statement for today is, I am the creator wisdom. The code for today is Earth. The next planet is the Earth, the same size as Venus, but it has oceans of water and mobile cortexes where a rich biosphere develops. Its name indicates its main characteristic from a human point of view. Life comes from the mix of water and clay, the fertile mud where all things grow, from the Latin humus, origin of the word human, that comes from fertile land. Our world is the only one capable of hosting life in our system and is the seat of the potential of the galaxy. I become aware of the space I find myself in, the body that I inhabit, and my breathings. And I observe in front of me the light of my consciousness, my soul, in the shape of a divine spark. Ignite. I attract this light to my crown chakra, and I ignite it in my crown. I think about the biggest struggle that I have regarding my beliefs. I recognize, reflect on it, do the inflection and deflection to the outside, taking this spark to my third eye. I take a moment to think about the greatest, biggest struggle that I have regarding my thoughts. I make a reflection about it. I do the inflection within and expand the spark with deflection. I descend this spark to my throat chakra. I think a moment about my biggest struggle related to my truths. I do reflection about this. I inflect within and I expand the spark to the outside, flexing. I descend the spark to my heart. I take a moment to think about my biggest struggle regarding my feelings. I do a reflection about this. I make an inner inflection. And I do deflection, expanding this spark to the outside. I descend this spark to my plexus. I recognize for a moment what is my biggest struggle with myself. I do a reflection about this, then an inner inflection, and I expand, flexing towards the outside, this divine spark. I descend the spark to my sacrum. And I take a moment to think about my biggest struggle to be able to create. I make a reflection of this, an inner inflection, and expand this divine spark towards the outside, flexing myself. I descend the spark to my root chakra. I think about the biggest of the struggles regarding the reality that is around me. I reflect about this. I do a tiny inflection and expand divine spark to the outside with a flexion. I descend this divine spark to my knees. And I recognize the biggest of the struggles related to my family, my story. I do a reflection about this, a tiny reflection within, and I expand to the world this divine spark with a flexion. I descend this divine spark to my feet. And I think about what is the biggest of my struggles to be able to follow my path, to be free. I make a reflection about this. I realize an inflection, and I expand this divine spark to the world by affirmation. I take a deep breath, expanding the divine spark towards all the directions of my being. I am the creator wisdom. I am the creator wisdom. I am the creator wisdom. I am. I am. I am. Breathe and expand this consciousness, stretching and yawning. And each one at its own time, come back here and now. Thank you everybody for being here as always, and see you tomorrow at the same time.